Welcome back to the Associates. This is episode 4. Wow, we're getting seems like we just started yesterday.
Is it episode 4 or episode 5?
No, this is 4. 4.
All
I'm
right.
looking at our
Perfect.
YouTube right now. Looks like the last video actually got up to 19 views. I'm pretty surprised because we were at like 4 for the longest
That's
time.
okay. Nobody's watching anyways.
Who
But
cares what we have
don't
to say,
forget to
right?
like and subscribe
Yeah.
if you don't mind.
100%. That would be very helpful for us. David needs a new mic. It's not the best quality stuff. So
Can you hear me? Can you hear me
a
all right?
little bit, it's better. It's okay. It's okay.
All right. So what's the news of the day? What do you want to start off? We got to start off with the Toronto
And
property
a
tax,
lot
right?
of stuff. There's a lot of stuff out there. I mean, talk about taxes. What's there's Toronto is now proper Toronto, not the GTA, just the proper Toronto, right? Is getting
City of
in
Toronto.
City of Toronto is getting an increase in taxes. It's the minimum is 10.5%, could be as much as what, 16%, you said?
That's what they're saying. Yes, 16.5%. The City of Toronto is asking the feds for some funding. If it doesn't come through by January 26th, it looks like property tax could be as much, the increase could be as much as 16.5% this year.
I
So,
know we were talking about this earlier, and you're like, it's not that much. Like some people's taxes are like 3,000, but I mean, it does add up because last year they went up like 5%, no, like 5.4% or something like
I mean, I say that as a condo owner. So with property
that.
taxes in the
You're like,
$2,500 range. No,
yeah,
but I mean, it's this incremental clawback of your disposable income, which just eats away at everything. And that's not good for the economy for
right,
people to have less money to spend.
right.
So, like you mentioned, you got a listing coming up. What are the property taxes there?
I think it's 8,400. So I mean, like 10%, you're
Thousand
getting
bucks
ten
almost.
thousand, $10,000 mark. Yeah.
It's almost $1,000
And,
increase,
and
right?
don't forget that in Toronto, proper Toronto, you still have that double land transfer tax, right? So it's like everywhere outside of Toronto, you don't have it. So it's just like it adds up. Like the whole point of that double tax was to avoid having high property tax. But I guess they're not getting enough, not enough homes are selling right now, right? So they're probably their budget's going down. So they probably they want that extra funding from the government. That's what they're asking for, right?
City of Toronto sitting right now 1.5 billion in debt. That's just the city of Toronto.
That's great.
So you start to look at some of the other levels of government. I mean, our federal debt has doubled since 2015. We were at about 625 billion ish at the start of 2015. We're now at 1.2 trillion
I mean, but
in
look what
Canadian national debt.
we have this awesome new subway, right? Like this new line coming through. We got all these things coming in.
We have nothing.
I
We have
know.
nothing. I mean,
That's true.
like I said, go drive down Lakeshore. Go drive down Lakeshore Boulevard. You need your eyes 100% laser focused on the road. If you're going eastbound on Lakeshore, right past Young,
Yeah.
and there's a little crest that comes there, there's an old LCBO, it was the old LCBO building.
Yeah.
And the bumps coming around the corner are insane. So, I mean that's just one problem, but
But I mean, I
you
remember
know,
taking the Gardner, right before you get to the DVP, you used to have an exit to go to
Leslie,
Leslie, like to get off
gone
and go to
now.
the beaches, right? That's
Gone.
gone because they're building this whole thing on the side. What is like, I don't even know what that is. Like every time I drive by it, I'm like, I gotta take a look and see what they're planning because they're putting these bridges and everything. Are they like, is that going to be a whole new development? Or are they going to start putting condos there? Or is it just they're just trying to make it look nicer because it's the waterfront?
So
I
that
mean,
whole waterfront, there's a whole development that's underway right now.
yeah,
If you look at renderings, the renderings actually look incredible.
yeah.
Whether or not it's going to come, the final product's going to look like that, I guess we'll see. But so I have some clients that they currently live in Leslieville, and they've been shopping in Durham. So I drive across Lakeshore. I drive right past that old exit that used to go to Leslie.
Yeah.
And my client, she works for one of the Toronto municipal wards as part of the
Okay.
government. So
Yeah.
she said that exit just came to its end of life. So in terms of what's happening there, I
Oh,
got to
so they
look.
didn't want to
I
fix
got
it. You're saying it was getting too worn
I got to
out that
look
they
into it. I'm
can't
I'm not
fix it.
100% educated on exactly what's going on, but I was
Yeah.
told that section of bridge just came to its end of life. So
But you're in
uh,
Toronto, right? You're in little not little you're in what's it called? You're in Liberty Village,
Liberty Village,
right?
yeah.
Okay, so next to the stadium, you have those tracks. So I had a few condos come up for sale there. And if you look at the city, there's renderings that they're supposed to be building a park above the tracks, right? You ever seen
So
that?
you're talking about
Like close to Blue Jay Way.
Yeah, I'm further west of that. You're talking about Spadina.
Yeah,
Basically Spadina in front, Bathurst in
yeah, like
front,
Bathurst and that front. Yeah. Like
Bathurst in front. Yeah.
they had all these condos, and like back in 2017, 2018, we had some condos up there for sale. And we used to print out those renderings because they're supposed to be putting, because obviously those train tracks are an eyesore, and they're supposed to be putting up these like this fake park above it. They're supposed to be building this whole park thing, but it's like they haven't even started it. You're like, is this even still happening? There's supposed to be a couple $1 billion, but it's just like all these projects that you've seen that were supposed to be coming, and like I know COVID definitely slowed things down, but it's just insane to think that they still haven't even started that, right?
How many, what's the statute of limitations in terms of how long we can blame our problems on COVID? I'm just
Probably I think
wondering
10 years. I think we got 10 years of it.
what's the general consensus? I'm curious because
I don't know.
to my understanding, the city of Toronto, we had a law that it was illegal for us to run deficits. Now all of
Okay.
a sudden we have a $1.5 billion deficit just here in the city of Toronto. Of course,
Yeah.
taxes are going up
Yeah.
16.5%. Of course, we need $250 million for refugees and asylum seekers. I'm telling you that the whole viewpoint towards immigration, legal or otherwise, the communities around the GTA, they're really going to start to turn against immigration because it's come to the point where it's been way too much, way too fast. There's no planning. And if you think we have a housing problem, wait a few more years until we have a healthcare crisis. Look at what's going on in the US. They have schools in Brooklyn, New York right now. They're vacating schools so they can house illegal refugees. It's a scary thing. I mean, we're not at that point here in Canada yet, but again,
David's going deep today. Deep,
it's all
deep, deep,
bad. It's
David.
all bad. It's all bad. So
Man,
yeah,
sky's falling for David. Let's get it quick. He's gonna get kicked out of his condo for refugees. Get on it.
that'll be the next step. Yeah, they'll be asking. No, but I mean, again, it's you look around and you see what's happening to the everyday Canadian, or the everyday person that lives here in Canada and lives in the GTA, pays their taxes. They follow the law. That they're good, honest, hardworking contributors to society, and you see a lot of people hurting right now.
No, it's true.
And the policy at the municipal level, at the provincial level, at the federal level. When was the last policy decision that's been designed to help the average Canadian? Because
Oh,
the
insane.
dental care, 12 years and under, the federal government introduced dental relief for certain families under a certain income.
Yeah.
Is that the answer to? Is
I don't know. It is
that the
crazy. I mean,
answer?
it's tough out there. It's tough. I met a client the other day. He bought a new build. He just closed on it, and now he wants to sell it. And we're going through the numbers. He was telling me that when he first got it, his mortgage payment was like 2,400. Obviously, with this rate increase, now it's 4,200. And he's
That's
like, "Well, maybe I'll rent it out." And I'm like, "Okay, what are you thinking of rent?" He's like, "Oh, well, he's giving me a number. He's going to be negative like 1,800, $2,000 a month. It's insane. Like,
what's the worth on the rental side?
well, it's like 3,000 a month or 2,800 a month. So it's like you're like still negative quite a bit. And then we're talking about selling it. I mean, he got a good price on it. He's not losing, but he's not making much. You know what I mean?
Is
Like,
it would he be underwater if he sold right now with all his
um,
acquisitions, with all his like the
he'd probably be
expenses to
broken
sell?
even. He got scammed by some mortgage brokers too and stuff like that. So he'd probably be on the break even. You got to be careful. A lot of people do some sketchy stuff. It's just tough in this industry sometimes.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, again, taxes
Talking
going
about sketchy,
tax,
I mean, did you hear
taxes
that
going
in
up.
Brampton?
Let's
Did you hear in
transition.
Brampton in some 5 wards now, you're going to need a license to rent out your unit you're going to need a license to rent out units that are in properties with less than 4 dwellings, right? So 4 units. So if you have a 2 unit house, you'll need a license to rent it out now.
Really? So how's that going to work?
I
And
have no
that's
idea.
all. That's only in the city of Brampton.
That's only in 5 wards of Brampton, from what I understand. It's going to be
Hmm.
Ward 1, 3, 4, 5, and 7. Landlords are going to need to get a license starting January 1st.
License. So what they're going to have to pay? They have to pay to get the license and
I have
then
absolutely no idea. I kind of just
renew
read the
it, I
headline and
assume.
just like skimmed through it real fast. And you're asking me a lot
Okay.
of these tough questions here.
Thanks for
Um,
thanks for doing all
looks
the
like there's
research.
about
We appreciate it.
30,000 units that will be affected by this, but I mean, I don't know how that, like, I guess they want to keep track of what's going on and stuff like that just to
Sure.
make sure. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if you do much work in Brampton. I go there once in a while, and you see some places where they literally stuff like four people in a
The
room.
basements are crazy there. There's no
Yeah,
laundry, there's no kitchen. There's
yeah,
just mattresses just strewn out on the ground, like no bed
yeah.
frames. Just
It's tough. It's tough. And
it,
like I see that in Toronto too. I've gone when I first started doing here. I was working with some rental people, and we found went to go see a unit in like East End Toronto. It was probably I think it was Danforth and Victoria.
okay.
And walk into this condo unit. There's literally like shower curtains like dividing this living room
Hmm.
into like six places, and it's like there's a bed, there's a night table, like a dresser, and then there's like a little like living room, which is like they have like a table with a big TV, and every person has this TV, and you're just like, man, it must get loud in here at night, everyone watching their movies. But and they're like there's a lot of people doing that because it's just like first off, rent's unaffordable, but they're still renting that for like maybe 700-800 bucks a month, which is still
Yeah,
insane.
man. I wish I could say it's funny, but it's actually
No, it's
sad.
not.
It,
It's
it's
insane.
sad. I mean, where do we go from here? Where do we
I
go
don't
from
know.
here? I mean, we got a prime minister who got a gift as a vacation. It was free, but it wasn't free, and it was a family. You heard
Oh,
about
you're
all
talking
that?
about the Jamaica trip? Is that it?
He went
Jamaica?
to Jamaica. He went to the ethics commissioner. The ethics commissioner apparently cleared it. He
Uh-huh.
initially said that they were going to pay for it, reimburse back the taxpayer. Then his message turned to that it was a gift from a family friend at $9,000 a night, while his
Man,
citizens are sleeping on the streets. And if you drive through most areas in Toronto, you have tent cities that are popping up that are becoming more and more common. The
man.
police don't want to do anything.
I saw a tent motel. You can rent the tent for the night for like 20 bucks. I'm
It's
just,
not even, it's well, I got nothing. I got nothing. It's bad. It's bad, and,
oh,
and
it's
it
awful.
pisses me off. It
But you
pisses me
just hear
off.
these kinds of things. That's not his first extravagant like vacation that he's been in office. That's like obviously it's bad because he's like there's a lot of people hurting. But I mean, like he takes these vacations a lot of the time. Like if you
Well,
look it
you
up,
you saw those
probably
thugs. You saw that RCMP thug that arrested that journalist, right? Did you see that the other
no,
day?
I did not see that. No.
Chrystia Freeland, the deputy prime minister, the finance
Yeah,
minister.
yeah,
She was walking somewhere, I think in Richmond Hill. There was a journalist that went up to her, asked her some questions.
yeah,
Some thug RCMP officer arrested him for assault, and it made international news. And
yeah.
you're not going to really see it too much on CBC or CTV News, but
Yeah, because God forbid we see that, right? You got to keep the
it's out
propaganda to the
it's out
top
there.
guys.
It's out there, right? So, kind of going back to Toronto, again, the city's asking the feds for $250 million to pay for, refugees and asylum seekers. And the question is like, who's making these decisions at the government level? And is it just total incompetence, or is it malice? Like
I think
the
it's a bit of both. I think, just people, it's just greed, it's just corruption. People are just trying to like line their pockets and just kind of move on with their lives. They don't care about anything but themselves.
I mean, I work with a lot of, and I'm sure you have too. You work with a lot of people that are relatively new to Canada. They've been here
Mm,
for 4 or 5 years. They've gone through the 2 year period. They got their PR. Now they can buy a home. I've never immigrated to another country, but I imagine that if I did, first off, that would be a horrible thing to think that somewhere else to pick up your life and move across the world is better than your own home country.
right. For
Who would
sure.
really
Yeah.
want to leave their home? Who would want to leave their own home country if life was great? Your family's there, your friends there, you're part of the culture, you're part of the community. You know, um, the point I'm trying to make is that a lot of these new immigrants, they don't come in with tons and tons of money. So the process from one of the clients that I saw after they closed, I went by and saw them at their new home, and we started talking about their move to Canada, and basically what they told me is they immigrated here from India.
Mm,
So their protocol, I don't know if this has changed or not, but their protocol was they needed to prove that they had at least $30,000 Canadian.
mhm.
They had to have a background check to make sure that they weren't some, terrible criminal coming over here. They had to have an STD check, and those were like the main bullet points. That was the process to actually. But I think about if I was one of these people that's looking at Canada in terms of having like being a better lifestyle, better place to live and for my family to prosper, would you want to come to Toronto? Would you want to come to Toronto? Look at some
Probably
of these
not.
people that are brand new to the city. They cannot find rental accommodation. Like they can't. Nobody's going to rent to them. A lot of people will not rent to them.
Well, that's
You'll
not
have,
their fault.
of course, it's not their fault.
That's our tenant board fault. That's because they put all these regulations. It's like once these guys are in there, you can't find a way to kick them out. But it's not because I'm not saying that you have to kick them out. I'm saying you have some of those bad apples that come in here and take advantage of you. And so it's like now, landlords just really have to go and they're doing their due diligence. They're not gonna accept anybody, just anybody, right? So it's just I don't know. You feel like all these regulations and all these rules are making things easier and better, but they're really not. It's just making things a lot worse. It's just like when you're looking at like the tenant board and like you're saying, like these people, international students coming in trying to find a place. A lot of landlords don't like to work with international students. I have a couple that love them because like you talk to their parents and you can get a better idea of what they're doing. But like a lot of people don't want to rent to students and to rent to international student or international people coming in for work or with visas. It's like it's very tough. It's not, and like some of these places are just staying empty, but they're getting hundreds of applications a month, and they're
Yeah,
just saying no to them. It's just insane.
I get it. Excuse me, I get it. We've talked about this for the last few episodes in terms of like, how do we genuinely turn things around? How do we bring down taxes? We need less taxes. We need less government regulation. But the problem is if we're going to cut taxes, if we're going to cut taxes, that means they're going to have to cut revenue. And then the question is, okay, well, where does that cutting come from? What are we going to start
Well,
cutting?
I think the cutting can come from cutting positions in the government that
Do
are
you
not
really think they're
necessary.
going to do that?
No, but they should. Like they're so bloated there. You could probably trim so much fat and still have some to trim. Like it's insane. They start these positions. They hire 10 people to do one person's job just because they want to help, and it's just putting everything negative, right? I don't know. It's just see how things are run. It's not the greatest.
They
There
vote
definitely
year
needs to
after
be.
year to
Yeah.
increase their taxes or increase their income. Sorry. At the end of the day, people just run out of ways to survive. And then you start to have chaos and anarchy in the streets.
Yeah.
That Toronto
And then
Star
we're the
article.
laughing stock internationally, right? Everyone laughs at Canada now, so it's
So that
everyone.
that that Toronto Star article I read this morning about the one that we read about the ten
Airbnb
and a
stuff.
half the 10.5%
Oh
property
yeah,
tax increase,
yeah,
which could be translated to 16.5% if the feds don't kick in their funding. So they did a poll, and the poll was basically to Torontonians, and the question was, where would you like to see the most amount of cutting? And one of the highest things that came through was they wanted to cut the police force budget. And to me, it's just like this whole idea of like the defund the police and like less resources for the police. It's
What were
just,
the other options? Just out of curiosity.
to be honest, I don't know. I'd have to go back to the art. That was the one thing that stuck with me though, is that that there's a fairly significant amount of the population that wants to see a decrease to the police budget. So again, we're not experts on these topics.
Well, if they
We don't do
decrease
this
the
every
police
day.
budget, they'll most likely start giving out more tickets to counterbalance that decrease, right?
Again, it's when was the last time that there was a law change, that there was a policy change to put more money back into the pockets of everyday Canadians? And the federal government will tell you, well, hey, we did that with the grocery rebate, which like
What
all these
grocery rebate? I didn't get any grocery
they came
rebate.
up with a grocery rebate.
Yeah.
It was a it was a seemed like
Well,
it
I
was
mean,
kind of
Doug Ford gave us back
the
our
license plate
license plate.
sticker.
Yeah, there you go. That was a good 200
Do you
bucks back
remember when they did that?
when they added the sticker. No, I don't think I
No,
was in
do you
Ontario.
remember when they took it away?
Yeah, it was 2 years ago.
But 6 months before the election came up.
Oh, 100%. I know that. Yeah, it's all planned. They were buying their votes. I get what you're saying.
So, I watched obviously TK's podcast, and I think that their title hit the nail on the head. Like we have a corrupt government.
Yeah.
The amount of mismanagement and spending is just egregious. And again, if we had gold lined sidewalks and perfectly clean streets and next to zero crime, that would be one thing. But
Yeah, but they were passing a bill recently for what is it, the base income, like like Canadian base income. You get $2,000
universal
a month. Yeah,
universal
universal. That's
basic
it.
income. That
Yeah, yeah.
sounds a little inflationary. I mean, this whole idea
They're
that the
giving
government's going to protect you and save you, and the government is the be all and end all. That we're heading down this road to the socialism slash
Yeah.
communism. And go look at every other country that's ever had communism or socialism in their country. Look at when that started in their country, and then fast forward 10 years, and look at what's happened. Look at Venezuela. Look at some of these other communist countries. Look at China. Look at China. They have the social credit system. They have 800. I was reading an article the other day. China has 850 million security cameras around China with facial recognition.
Yeah.
Okay, where if you jaywalk across the street, it hurts your social credit score. Like these are like these dystopian,
Yeah, but
you
their
know,
economy is about to
like
go.
almost sci-fi type of,
Oh yeah,
policies, like where you think like this would only happen in Mad Max or something like that. But like
right. Yeah.
this is happening right now in China.
No, I know. I've seen like videos where you get to a kiosk, and if you're not smiling, they don't doesn't let you through. You gotta like put a smile on, and it's like, come on, and then the gates will open to go onto the subway station or something like that. But I don't know. Look at their economy. Like they're gonna have a population issue very soon. Like they're gonna start begging people to move there,
So they
and
did
you
backtrack on that one child law, right? A few years
yeah,
ago.
it's the back way exactly. Yeah,
I
yeah.
knew they backtracked on that, but again, it's like
But I mean,
China
they kept that for so long that it's gonna like affect, and a lot of people are just leaving that country just in general, right? So
China, if you look at some of the infrastructure, look at some of these cities in China that you've probably never heard of, that I've never heard of, and you see the infrastructure they have there, and certain things that they do there because they have this communist state. I mean, I guess there's some sort of benefits to it, but do we want that? Do we want anything like we don't even want any shade of that similar color here in Canada? And it feels like that is where we're headed with with the decisions that our policymakers, are doing. So,
right, yeah,
scary time. You see what's going on in Germany with all these farmers. You
yeah,
probably haven't heard about it. You won't see it on CTV or, like I said, CBC News, but they want to increase the taxes for these farmers, and it's like, you know, they're doing the same thing here in Canada. Maybe I should take my tinfoil hat off, but Bill Gates is the number one buyer of farmland in the U.S. last year. Why is
yeah.
Bill Gates getting into farming? Bill Gates invested in this new startup company where they're designing this new substance to inject cows with to reduce the methane of these
Pollution,
cows.
reduce some pollution. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. Okay.
Sounds like we're gonna get sick. There's gonna be some new diseases coming our way soon.
I don't know. You look at basically every like household like political figure in the Western world, they're all multimillionaires.
Oh
They're all
yeah.
worth tens of millions. Nancy Pelosi had
Oh
she had a 65% return in the
yeah.
stock. She beat Wall Street by like
I know she's.
92%.
I mean, like she's corrupt. That's the most corrupt you
What?
can get. Like, come on, she
Like,
has everything. She knows what's going on. Nvidia, she bought it when it was like $100. What's that? Like $600 now. She.
sure, her and her husband,
Yeah.
and everybody else. It's like all these. It doesn't matter, left, right, Republican, Democrat, liberal,
All
conservative.
money. Yeah.
They become prominent, and then it's just like it's all the same. And we like to think
Yeah.
that we have two different parties. It's all the same. They all
100%.
they all become multi. Look at Al Gore. Al Gore is like the godfather of climate change. He's
Yeah.
worth like $100 million, and he was like just a politician before that. So I don't know. The
I mean, you do know in
Bushes,
the States, right? When you're
Clintons.
president, you get once you leave the office, you get a set salary, like a 500K a year for the
How do
rest
you
of your
turn
life.
$500,000 into $100 million
But
into
I'm
a
just
hundred million
saying, like,
dollar
you
net
get, yeah,
worth?
but the thing is, they go and do guest speaking, they get invited to go speak at university, and they pay them. You don't think Harvard pays these
I
people millions of dollars to come fucking speak at their
I
university and
I
stuff?
understand that, but
And then companies hire them as
all of them,
consultants and all these things because yeah, but they pass all these laws and everything, right? Like to bend like they're getting their pockets, like greased and
lined, of
lined and
course.
everything. Every time they make like they pass a bill, like some of these bills, they literally destroy the people's health and they don't care. It's like whatever. I'm getting $100 million when I when I get out of office because I'm gonna
Yep.
get hired by this company. They're gonna give me a $10 million salary, plus they get the salary from the government. It's the same thing here. Like I think prime ministers, it's not as much, not 500,000, but it's like 200 or something like that until they go and they get a security team too. That's still like money coming out of our budgets and stuff like that.
I
Like it's
understand there's expenses and whatnot. Again, you look at all these levels of government. What was the last year that we didn't run deficits? Like you can't continuously run deficits. Deficit is just a fancy word for
I don't think
negative.
there's many countries that don't run deficits. I don't know if you can. I think Sweden or Switzerland, Sweden or
I don't
Switzerland.
know.
I think
I don't,
they're positive, but
it
and there's
doesn't
not
matter what
many.
they're doing elsewhere in the world.
Yeah, yeah,
Like when you wake up in the morning, when you go to work and you spend time to invest, try to help people and feed your family and pay your taxes, this is where your taxpayer dollars are going.
yeah.
So does that make you happy? Does that help you build a better life for you and your family? Does that help you prosper more? Like
David's starting a revolution here,
when
guys.
the citizens are empowered, when people will spend money, and I knew that from my first year in car sales, when I used to see people, and you would see what they make, you would see what they spend. People that have that with money in their pockets will spend, and that's good for the greater good of society as a whole. It'll encourage people to start a new business. It'll encourage people to invest. It'll encourage people to go out and spend more, which in turn is going to drive up tax revenues. But when you claw that tax from the top line, 35, 45, 50% taxes on the top line, 13% going back out, you know, the income tax was supposed to be something temporary after World War II. The GST, same thing, was supposed to be temporary. Then they combine the GST and the PST and they call it the harmonized sales tax. It's an additional tax. Like every Canadian basically pays or takes home about 50 cents on the dollar. 50 cents on the dollar.
No, I think it's less. It's more like 30 cents on the dollar because you're paying tax on everything you buy, right? So you
That's what
got
I mean. 35, 40% plus a 13% tax, about 50%. So, and then taxes here and taxes there. Your property taxes are going up. Your mortgage payments going up. It's more expensive to buy food. I had a client who was, she was writing love letters to a local daycare.
to get in. Yeah, yeah,
She
yeah.
couldn't
Fair
get her
enough.
kid into a daycare. I
No,
called
I know.
her.
I called some. They're like 100 family wait lists, and you're like, well, what? I guess I'm never getting in here. What's the point?
Where's
No,
all our tax money going?
I don't know.
Where
It's
do all the revenues go?
yeah, but
Like
daycares are corporations. Like if you want, like you start your own. Go ahead.
start one right over here.
You
Yeah,
should. Yeah,
you
you can
should
have a
bring your
private
kids over
invest.
here. I'll give you a great no, but I mean again,
4,000 bucks a month. David's daycare, guys.
it's yeah, it's like we're heading down like we need drastic sweeping like monumental change to our tax code to our spending to everything.
There needs to be a
Um
whole, I think, a whole new they need to like almost destroy everything we have in the politics and start over. I think we need to add another two or three parties. The three-party system is great. I know we have other ones, the smaller ones don't matter, but they need to have like four or five or six major parties. I think that's the only way you can start balancing out this stuff. And it kind of weeds out corruption because then you'll always have some other parties taking care of things. But this like two-party system, which pretty much liberals and conservatives, it doesn't work. And then you have like, okay, the far left, and then you got the far right. But I mean, like at the end of the day, those those don't, it's not enough. We need more. We need more parties. Like in the US too, it's like they need more. Imagine if they had four or five actual serious parties. I don't think it'd be as messed up as it is now. But nothing's going to change. It is what
it's
it
all
is.
one party. It's all one
What you should
party.
do, I think, David, if you don't want to pay taxes, you know where you're going to
Mm,
go? You got to go to
like,
Dubai.
oh, I thought you were gonna say like and subscribe.
Oh, you can like and
You
subscribe. Yeah,
like and
that's a good
subscribe
idea
too.
too. Help us pay our taxes, guys. Come on.
Is this even monetized? I hope we're not
I
running ads
mean,
on
at some
this.
point it should be,
Don't
right?
run any ads on this. I hate when I see those channels with like one subscriber and you go to click on their video and you got to watch an ad.
Well,
It's like, what are you making on this
maybe
thing?
we should try and get that. Maybe we could get that one subscriber app going. That would
We'll
give us
pass.
that 2 cents we need to pay those taxes.
We might need a license for that pretty shortly.
Oh, pretty sure, yeah.
What else you got?
No, I mean,
How else you want to end this?
I mean,
Let's end this on a positive note.
well, look behind you. The guy looks like the sun came out in your area. Mine's still
Let's
pretty cloudy.
let's end this on a positive note. Positive note.
No
Go.
snow.
No, no,
David's
no.
starting a revolution.
No, no, no.
What's your
No, no, no.
revolution called, David? No.
Positive note is spend time with your family. Spend time with your family. Start a family. Teach them to be good people. Teach
Yeah.
them to be honest, hardworking people. Show them the truths of the world. Tell them to have a moral compass. Tell them to fight for what's fair. Tell them to protect people that matter to them, people that help them. And we should all succeed together as a society. We shouldn't be tearing each other down. We shouldn't be, killing each other in the streets or on the internet or anything else. Okay. There's a lot of good stuff about life. Life is amazing, and we all just need to come together and have faith and just love each other, love each other. So
Sounds good, David.
that's
That's
it.
exactly just we gotta love each other. Everyone give four hugs today or five. What? Let's
Hug,
do
hug,
10
hug,
hug
a,
minimum a week, guys. Gotta
hug a
get 10
stranger
hugs
today.
a week.
Hug a
Family
stranger
don't
today.
count. You gotta go hug those strangers. Huh?
Hug a stranger. Don't. We're not liable for any litigation that might come for that.
Just
But
say you're trying to share and be positive, and you're just here to hug. You know,
go call your mom. Call your dad if they're around. Call your uncles. Go. Take care of your
talk to
family.
some strangers, make somebody a day, help out. You
Take
know,
take care of your family. Be a good person.
and
Go
like
work
and
hard.
subscribe.
Go take care of
Like and
yourself.
subscribe
Eat well. Live a good life, and let all
for
the other
sure.
noise, let all the other stuff, let all the other nonsense. Pay attention to it. See what. Make sure you know what's going on, but don't let it consume you because it'll turn you. It'll turn you very negative, and
Turn
you
you like
should.
David a little bit here. Start at the beginning of the show, David. You'll turn into a David.
No,
It's the
no, 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 no.
revolution.
Lots
Maybe
going on.
David should run for government. Clean it up, David.
I got your
Get your
vote.
broom out there and clean it up.
You could be my. You'll be my consigliere.
There you go. There you go.
Right on. All right,
There
guys.
you
We'll
go.
appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in once again. Like and subscribe.
Yeah, don't forget to
And
like and subscribe. We would like the support. It would definitely help us to motivate us to do more videos. I mean, we're still going to do them, but it'll make us happier to do them.
we'll see you in
We're
the next
trying to
video.
get to 10 by the end of this week, guys.
10
10. We're at
subscribers?
9. We need one.
I'm calling my aunt and uncle right now.
Perfect. Let's do it.
See you next week, guys.
Have a good one. Bye.